this video, I'm going to explain how to buy property at auction successfully. I'm going to bust some of the myths about auctions, tell you what you must and must not do with auctions, and I'm going to reveal how to get some real bargains. Hi, my name's Mark Lloyd. I'm co-founder of Property Master Academy, and I've been a property investor since 2005. So is it a good time to buy at auction? Yes, it's a very good time to buy at auction. In today's hot property market where prices are still rising, property auctions are one of the few places you can still find a bargain. Now that many property auctions have gone online, it's easier to buy at auction than ever before. So let's look at the main reasons for buying at auction. Firstly, there can be an opportunity to buy at under market value. That's for less than the property would sell for through an estate agent, for example. Secondly, you can find property that is perfect for developers, such as property that needs renovation or which can be developed. Thirdly, auctions offer speed and certainty. There's no negotiating, no waiting months for a chain, you can't be gazumped, and the sale can't fall through. But this is the very important thing you need to know about property auctions. Auction sales are final. When the hammer falls, you've bought it. The sale completes usually 28 days later. You can't back out or you'll lose your deposit. So you must be absolutely sure you want the property, and you must have your finance lined up before you bid. Now, with that in mind, let's look at how to finance auction buys. Some auction properties just aren't mortgageable, so you need to approach them on a cash buyer basis. Now, maybe you don't have the cash to go out and buy a house at auction, but after a few successful projects, you will. Until then, you'll need to consider other forms of finance. For example, many developers take a short-term or bridging loan against that property or another property they own, such as their own home, for example, then refinance onto a cheaper long-term finance later on. Also, consider property crowdfunding, and as many of you know, we operate a crowdfunding platform, so let us know if you need help with any finance issues. Next, let's consider how to find property to buy at auction. Well, there are dozens of property auctions held every single month in the UK, so do a little internet research to find those in your area. You'll also find that there are some London-based auction houses which sell property all over the UK, so don't forget those. And there's also EIG Group, which runs an auction subscription service that is well worth checking out. When you have found suitable auctions, all you need to do is sign up with them and they will email you details of upcoming sales and particulars of all the lots available. Once you have found a property you might be interested in buying at auction, here are some things you need to consider. Firstly, decide what you're going to do with the property. For example, will it be a buy-to-let, a renovation project, or will you try to flip it for profit? Secondly, what work is needed on the property and what is it likely to cost? And thirdly, does the guide price represent good value? Now, I'll talk a bit more about guide prices in a moment. By the way, if you're enjoying this video, then please click the like button below so that others just like you will get to see this video, and also subscribe to our channel so that you get notified of new videos as and when they're uploaded. Now, I need to say a quick word about viewing auction properties. It's perfectly possible to buy property at auction without actually viewing it, and some developers do that, but I would absolutely recommend you do not bid on a property unless you've actually viewed it. Always go and view the property. I also want to say something about the legal packs as well. Every auction lot should have a legal pack. Now, usually you can download it from the auction house's website. And the legal pack provides information about the terms and conditions the property is being sold under, a draft contract of sale, local searches, and details of any fees and charges. You must read the legal pack carefully and take advice on it from a solicitor before you decide to bid. You will often hear the terms reserve price and guide price at an auction. Well, what exactly do these mean? Well, the reserve price is the minimum price the seller will sell the property for, It is never disclosed to bidders. The guide price, on the other hand, is disclosed to potential buyers when a lot is listed. A guide price, which may be a single figure or range, is an indication as to how much the auctioneer thinks a property could be worth. It is not an asking price or selling price, but it should be within 10% of the reserve price. In today's market, properties frequently sell for more than their guide price, although sometimes they can sell for less. Another important thing you need to know about auction prices is that auctions usually charge what they call a buyer's premium, and sometimes require the buyer to pay the seller's legal fees too. So look at the small print. Now this varies from auction to auction, so you must check this in advance and allow for it in any bid that you're going to make. So let's assume you've found a property you're interested in bidding on. What do you need to do before the sale? Well, firstly, make sure you have that finance lined up. You'll need to pay a deposit, which is normally 10% immediately the hammer falls, and the rest usually within 28 days. Secondly, find a solicitor or conveyancer who is willing to act for you. Now make sure they know it's an auction purchase and it needs to be completed within 28 days. Check what they'll charge. Take advice on the legal pack. Thirdly, register as a bidder with the auction house. Now you'll probably need to provide some ID to do this and proof that you have the deposit ready. Fourthly, decide the absolute maximum you're willing to pay for that property. Now once auction day comes, how do you bid on a property at auction? Well, the process of bidding at auction has completely changed over the last couple of years, mainly due to the pandemic. While most auctions used to be held in person at a venue, in what were often called ballroom auctions, most are now also, and sometimes only, held online, perhaps at a live streamed auction. Now bidding online is the easiest way. Although if you get the chance to go to an auction, I would definitely recommend it. You can't beat being in the room. But it's a great way to see how auctions work too. And also, by the way, it's a myth that you can buy a property at auction by scratching your nose. There are no special techniques or funny signals to learn. There is nothing to worry about. The key thing is to stick to your maximum bid. Now the auctioneer will introduce each lot and propose a starting price. And if you're willing to pay that, simply click or raise your hand. If you're outbid but willing to pay more, again simply click or raise your hand again, and so on and so forth. Property auction bids usually go up in £1,000 increments depending on the value of the property, but it can be more for an expensive property or less for a cheaper one. Some very important things to listen out for from the auctioneer are terms something like the property is here to sell or the property is in the room. Now this is really important. This usually means that the bids have now met the reserve price and the property will definitely sell to the highest bidder. And if your bid is the last and highest bid once the reserve is met, then congratulations, you've bought your very first property at auction. Lastly, one final tip which you can use to bag a real bargain at auctions. If a property you're interested in fails to sell because it doesn't make its reserve, make a note of the last highest bid. And if you're still interested in buying that property, get in touch with the auction house as soon as possible and ask if the seller will consider an offer at or around that final bid. They very often will, and it could be a way to buy a property at auction at under its reserve price. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this video, and if you have, then don't forget to hit that like button and also subscribe to our channel. Appearing on your screen right now are also more videos that will assist you with your property business. Thanks for listening.